Okay, everybody make sure that you're muted. This is Barb Ryan, and it is December 17th of 2020. And it's the night of insight, and there's about 7 people in the audience behind the scenes at this time. So I welcome all of you, and I will get started by playing the bowl and reading the questions. We'll see what comes through. Sometimes I feel so helpless and isolated from all that's going on, wishing I could do something to make things just a little bit better for my community and even the world at large. I'm just one person, and sometimes I feel overwhelmed. Remember to mute yourself. Somebody just came in. I do tithe to my church and donate to some local charities, and that helps me feel better. But what else can I do to help me feel as though I am doing something positive to keep my spirits up and help others as well? So the question, it had a long intro, but the question is, what can I do to help me feel as though I'm doing something positive to keep my spirits up and help others as well? I'm hearing an echo. It may be my sound system, hopefully not, but anybody who has their audio on, make sure that it's turned off. Thank you. So the question this evening, the first question is, what can I do to help me feel as though I'm doing something positive to keep my spirits up and to help others as well? So one of the subtitles of these Night of Insights is always, what would love do? And the questions are asked from that perspective. What is the most loving thing to do? What can I do to help me feel as though I'm doing something positive? Well, we know that we're doing something positive when we feel positive about that which we're doing. So as you have a thought and you say, what would love do? And you ask, what is mine to do? And then you open yourself up to that possibility. And it may seem like it's something very small. It might seem trivial. It may be a phone call. It may be an email. It might be a note. It might be a song. It might be a Zoom event. There are things that you will be led to do that will bring peace and love and hopefulness to you. And that will keep your spirits up, and you'll know that you're helping others. And I'm sure that there's many questions that focus on a particular theme that are very similar to this theme. So I'm going to continue and let it be answered as we go along. But the question being one of, what else can I do? This person's feeling overwhelmed that they're doing everything they can do. And they want to feel as though they're doing something positive and keep their spirits up and help others as well. So another insight just came that know that what you are doing is positive. That you, in your thoughts, as you want to do something positive and you want to help others, what comes through you will be more positive and will be helping others. And when you feel a worry about this, You love whatever feeling you're feeling. If you feel despair, you love the despair. You love the sadness. You surround each of these feelings with love. Love yourself, hug yourself, accept yourself. Know that you are doing the best you can in this moment. Whether you wrote this question or not, whether you're watching this live on Zoom, or whether you're watching a recording, this message is for you. How can I move forward in such a crazy time? That's the question. And the person wrote a little more of a description that I want to read. It seemed very important to them. And then I'll ask the question again at the end. They say, I feel like I'm two people. One is safe in the present, created by the past, and the other thinking about other possibilities, afraid to make a choice, afraid to be disappointed and unable to go back. I feel stuck and not moving forward as time flows on. How can I move forward in such a crazy time as December of 2020? How can I move forward? And the statement talks about the past and how the present was created in the past. And they're looking at what they're going to create in the future from this moment, right here and right now. There is only this moment right here and right now. Anything that comes up from the past in this moment is coming up as part of the healing. It is revealed to be healed, to become part of this loving moment. Anything we're thinking about the future or planning for the future is simply an idea in this moment or a desire in this moment. But we don't know what the future will bring. We know that if we stay in the moment we're in, take one step at a time, one thought at a time, one positive step at a time, asking all along, what would love do in this moment? The time continues to unfold, bit by bit, present moment by present moment, until when we look at a timeline, we are now in a different place than we were moments ago or days ago. So there is only the present moment. And if in this present moment we are able to say, what would love do? What is the most loving thing that I can do for me in this moment? What is the most loving thing that I can do in this moment to help me, to help my family, to help my neighborhood, to help others? What is it that's being called forth from me that I can do? And then take that small step, recognize it, feel positive about it, about taking the step. And then it's trusting that the next moment will unfold and the next moment will unfold. Sounds like they're wanting to make decisions and that they go thinking about this possibility, afraid to make a choice, this or that. And most times, if we make the choice that we feel like we're really leaning into, that we are feeling called into, that we are feeling that Spirit is calling us to, that will work out. It will feel like the best decision. And what's in the way of that decision is often fears. fear of success, fear of failure, fear of change, fear of disappointment, all those fears. Every one of those fears is revealed to be healed. So focus on healing and accepting and loving the parts of you that are so great. Be loving. And as you are, you will be guided to the next step. And another indication of discerning things and figuring out the next step is that you will feel some relief. In your mind, you'll find some quiet or relief. In your body, you'll feel a sigh of relief. In your feelings, you'll feel a movement, or the anger or the sad or the disappointment, whatever you're feeling, you will feel a shift. So when you feel a shift, or your thought shifts and changes, or your body leans forward and feels, you know you're on.
Did you
Aligned.
read him? Thank you.
Please mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please mute.
It says I'm muted. I'll try again. I'm sorry.
Yes. What I'm hearing is me echoing through yours. I wasn't hearing you until you spoke, but I hear me echo. Anybody who's not muted, then I'm hearing an echo of a voice through a voice. And so on the tape, there's an echo. No reason to apologize. The technology gets pretty tricky. And now I don't hear anything. And so when I say please mute, just look around. One of you might have pressed a button that you didn't know you pressed. Okay. How do I stop worrying? How do I stop worrying about things that I cannot control? How do I stop worrying about things I cannot control? One of the best tools to let go of worries is to shift the worry into a wonder. And I will teach that for just a moment here right now. Anybody who's listening to this live, whether it was your question or not, anybody who's listening to the recording, there's often something that we're worried about. So if you are feeling a worry, you say to yourself, not out loud right now, unless you're muted, right? But you say to yourself, I am worried about blah, 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 whatever it might be. And feel the worry. And notice what your worry level is, just like when people notice what a pain level is. And on a scale from 1 to 10, look at how worried you are about that or have been worried about that. And then for a moment, as you set it aside, have the thought, I wonder about that. I wonder what may happen in this situation. I wonder what resources may show up to answer this question. I wonder what's being revealed to be healed to help with this situation. I wonder who may show up that would have more information. I wonder how it would be if I was still and meditated on this for a moment as a wonder instead of as a worry. What would it be like to wonder about it? And when we wonder, our brain chemistry changes. As we wonder, we get dopamine dumps instead of all of the stress hormones from worrying. So the next time you feel worried about anything, try closing your eyes, smiling inside of yourself, holding the worry in a loving spot, and then wondering about possibilities, because worrying shuts off our thinking and doesn't allow us to wonder about other possibilities. And that's the best way to stop worrying about things. And the person has said, how do I stop worrying about things that I cannot control, right? And the only things we have influence over, if not control, is I have influence, control over what I think, over what I do, over what I believe, over how I act, over my own speaking, right? My feelings, all of this. And even some of that feels out of control sometimes. Like when we're worrying, right there, that's something we don't want, that we feel like we can't control. The worry is just going to take over. So a way of controlling it is shifting our thinking. This question has a couple of questions. I'll read them. And I always attempt to read them as they're written, and as Spirit speaks through me, they get shifted and changed. But it's asking, what is a more immediate need for our country, right? And there's two choices here. A is helping Americans to bring back some sort of normality. Or is the more immediate need getting the president and his gang into court and then into jail? Immediate need is for each one of us to ask, what is my most immediate need right now? Right here and right now. What's my most immediate need? What do I need to focus on? Is it money? Am I running out of money? Am I scared of running out of money? Is it shelter? Do I not have a secure place to live? Is it food? Do I not have a secure food source? Is it my job and unemployment or my social security checks? Am I concerned about that? Is it getting sick, getting COVID? Am I worried about that? What is your most immediate need? And as we feel so overwhelmed because there's so much going on with the pandemic and the way the country is being torn apart culturally and racially, and the way the country is being torn apart financially, and the way the country seems to be being torn apart spiritually. So many ways that we feel torn apart. What is it that you need? What do I need to bring me back to my wholeness again? To my feeling of safety and my feeling of security. And once I have that, to share that with my family, with my neighbors, with my friends. How can I help other people to secure housing or finances or healthcare or stay safe? So the question becomes a very personal one, looking at what it is that you need and how to get those needs met, and who to talk to get those needs met, who to write to get those needs met, who to donate to get those needs met, right? So look at what are the needs that you're having at this time, and what can you do to get in line to get those needs met. And we're not competing with anybody else to get those needs. Just like the vaccine has just appeared and people are being prioritized about who needs to get the vaccine first. And if you feel like you have a need to be part of that priority, find out how to do that. So whatever we have questions about or we're not trusting, instead of worrying about it all and how it's all affecting us, which is overwhelming, and we get to a breaking point of just feeling numb and feeling done. And then what we think about, what is it that I need in this moment? And find a way to ask for that. What would love do in this moment? And find a way to be a part of that. How can I respond most lovingly in this moment? And sit with that question. And then it becomes more obvious if you will look at one of these two choices to put your energy toward, or if a whole third or fourth or fifth choice comes through about where to put your focus and your energy. Because where we focus our energy, that's what grows. And when we focus on a worry or a problem, the worry and the problem grow. When we focus on healing or a solution or love or looking for the helpers, that's what then grows. How do I improve? How do I improve on surrendering? How do I improve on surrendering and being in the now? As was said moments ago, the present moment is all there is. And so surrendering to the now is surrendering to the idea, to the belief that this is the only moment that there is this present moment. And you have no other option than to be in this moment. The choices you have are how to show up in this moment, how to be your highest self or your most loving self, or how to release the anger that you have, or how to feel your deep grief in this moment, to really feel it and cry as much as you need to, knowing that that will help you to shift. So whatever you are feeling in this moment, when you surrender to that, surrendering to this moment is surrendering to how you feel in this moment and trusting that it will shift. And as it shifts, you'll be in another moment. But you'll still be in the present moment. You'll still be in the now. So it's to ask yourself the question, am I being present in the present moment? You know, to look at, Am I thinking ahead to the future? Am I worried about the past? Am I um, caught in a spiral of feelings and thoughts in my head? And to know that any of that that's happening to you is happening in the present moment. There's no other place it can be happening. So even though it seems like a conundrum, accepting that that's what you're doing and feeling in this moment brings you exactly into the moment, and you have surrendered to be in it, right? So it's one of those puzzles that answers itself. So how do I improve on surrendering and being in the now? The key word is being, as you are recognizing in this moment. Here, right now, is where you are at. You have then already surrendered to that. Hmm. How do we love? How do we love someone? How do we love someone who consistently bullies others? How can we love someone who is a bully? How can we love someone and hate their behavior? How can we love someone and want to change them? You know, how can we love someone that we feel bullied by, or that we have seen bully others, or someone who has bullied us in the past, or ourselves if we have ever bullied someone else in the past, or if they have felt bullied by us? How do we love the bully? How do we love the bully? And how do we stay in the state of love and still maintain boundaries? Honoring yourself. Honoring yourself is honoring your voice, honoring your body, honoring your memories, honoring your feelings, honoring your essence, honoring your ideas, honoring all of you, even the aspects of you that have ever bullied anyone in the past. Yes, it's in the past, but you carry the resonance of that. If you have not forgiven yourself and or made amends to the person that you felt like you had wronged or you had bullied, then you are still carrying that deep feeling of having bullied someone, whether they accused you of it or not, whether you agree that you bullied them, whether you thought you bullied them and they didn't think you bullied them, whether they had a perception that you bullied them and you didn't think you did. See, all of that is noise and thoughts in our head. But in our essence, was there a time as a bigger kid or an older sibling or somebody with any sort of privilege, being the educated one, being the one with more money, the one with lighter skin, the one with gender privilege? You know, is there ways with all of that that along the lines you bullied someone or they felt bullied? They felt treated unfairly by you. Or you know in your mind that you bullied them even if you didn't act on it. And you feel really bad as you think about this. And remember that what you're thinking about from the past is revealed to be healed. It's coming up at this time because you are ready to see it, ready to notice it, ready to say, wow, when I yelled at my kids or my grandkids or somebody else's kids in that moment when I was really angry and frustrated, they didn't deserve that. Did I apologize to them? Did I tell them that even when I'm angry, that they don't deserve to have a raised voice put at them in a mean way? That they don't that they don't deserve any kind of bullying, right? That we apologize for stepping over a line. So first we mend within ourselves and we learn to love the essence of ourselves, the parts that have been bullied and the parts that have bullied, the parts that have been oppressed and the parts that have oppressed. Start by loving into oneness all of those aspects of ourselves, knowing in those moments we did the best we could with what we have. And I believe it's Maya Angelou who said, then when you know better, you do better. So we are to forgive ourselves because now we know better. We recognize that yucky feeling. May have pushed it away, but we recognize, and we recognize when we bully ourselves, people are often hardest on themselves. So forgiving yourself for any time that you've put yourself down or treated yourself poorly, forgive yourself for doing that. And forgive yourself for whatever the bully part of you thought the other part did that deserved that. And begin to shift that paradigm. No one ever deserves to be bullied. No one. So as we honor our inner bully and love that part of ourselves and shift it, we are ready to make amends. And as we learn to love ourselves, then we can truly love others. So as we learn to love ourselves, when the question says, how do we love someone who consistently bullies others? We are not loving the fact that they consistently bully others. We're not loving that. We're not approving of that. We're not embracing that. We're not saying that's okay. We're not giving that a green stamp. We're not giving that a seal of approval. No. But the essence of that person, if there was a way to look inside of that person from my higher self to their higher self, and we could say, I, in my most loving aspects of me, find a place within you that I see your divinity. And I personally define divinity as love. And if I cannot see your divinity, then I go back to the drawing board with me. And I forgive myself for judging others and not being able to see their divinity, not being able to see the source in them. And we keep going back and looking at ourselves and looking at the others and looking at ourselves and looking at the others. And how do we stay in a state of love is that we're lovingly looking at ourselves and lovingly looking at them. How do we do that and still maintain boundaries? Is that you know from doing this exercise that you do not deserve to be bullied or to bully yourself. And as you are loving and honoring yourself, that becomes your boundaries. You can learn to love someone from afar. You can learn to love complete strangers, right? People hate complete strangers just because of who they are and how they look. And what if we chose to love in that divine, big love way? What if we chose to love, to send out loving energy to even strangers, just as a spiritual exercise? And look at those that we want to change. And instead of praying for their change, is what I mean, some people choose to do that. They pray for someone else to change. I'm not quite sure how that works. What I know is that I pray for my perception of that person to change, that I begin to see the divine in them. I am able to keep healthy boundaries when I still see them misbehaving and bullying people. And, I don't want to be a part of that. I can remove myself from that. I can do that and still send them energetically divine love, not get in the way of that happening for them in whatever way it does happen for them. Mm. Similar question, and you've noticed a theme in all of these questions, of course. How can we Americans, how can we humans, how can we deal with the roller coaster of emotions that we have been through now and in the future? Well, again, if there's no future but the now, and no past but the now that we're remembering, right? We look at how we can deal with our roller coaster emotions in this moment. Lots of people are feeling overwhelmed and scared and grief and sadness. They've lost a lot. They've lost family members. They've lost homes. They've lost jobs. They've lost their access to things that they used to have, that they used to be able to do. So many have lost so much. And there's lots of despair. And there's lots of hatred. And there's lots of worry. And there's lots of sadness. There's lots of anger. There's lots of anger. In this roller coaster of emotions, there's also some relief. Every once in a while, there's some relief that we might feel that nobody else might even notice. But we feel relief. We feel gifted, or we feel like we have something to give to somebody else, that we can be a part of the solution. So the way that we deal with our roller coaster of emotions in this moment about things happening now that have been happening, maybe throughout our life, throughout human history, maybe in just the last 4 years. But it doesn't matter that it happened in the past. It matters that we're feeling it right now. It doesn't matter that we're afraid it may happen in the future, right? That's our fear about the future. But right here and right now, how can we accept what is, love ourselves, Forgive ourselves. Feel all of our feelings. Move through the feelings. Be in them until they shift. Be with each other as much as we can in expressing our feelings. And love. Love those feelings. Love ourselves through the feelings. Love ourselves even though we're having difficult feelings. And that love and gratitude and compassion will begin to grow and will begin to leak out of us to other people. And yes, it will be mixed with then the sadness and the anger that come along. And as we keep riding this roller coaster and staying in the present moment, as we surround it with love as much as we can, the roller coaster smooths out. We lovingly notice our anger, and it motivates us to make a change. We lovingly notice our grief and honor our grief. The sadness now, one of the biggest griefs is that people cannot be with friends and family when they're dying. And there's not time or place to gather or ways to gather to honor those who've passed. So there is lots of new and different grief around the ways we're even allowed to grieve or that are socially acceptable to grieve. So take it into yourself. Love yourself. Do the absolutely best you can in learning to love yourself through your grief, and you will find it opening up bit by bit. And it is a cycle. Every day is a cycle, you know. We are often not the exact same mood that we wake up with, that we fall asleep with. You know, all throughout the day, we have different moods and thoughts. And so how to be loving ourselves, no matter what we're thinking or feeling or doing, most likely will help us to act and be in the most loving way. I notice that there's one more question in here. And the last question often summarizes the theme for the evening. I say that from past experiences that I'm remembering in the moment. Yes, this certainly seems to have been the theme this evening. What is the best way? What is the best way? So the best being like, what is the most successful way? How can I succeed? What is the best way to overcome? What is the best way to overcome negative thoughts and feelings? I think a lot of our questions came down to this. No matter who or what those negative thoughts and feelings are about, what's the best way to overcome them? Well, we don't want to battle with them. When we battle with our fear, it gets bigger because it feels like we're not taking it seriously. When we battle with our anger, it gets bigger because it feels like we're not taking it seriously. When we battle with our grief, we begin to have shame around maybe I'm grieving too much or too long or not in the right way. Battling with any of our feelings, we only feel worse. But as we love and accept each of our feelings and surround it with love, absolutely surround it with love. As we do that, we will notice the bit of a shift. And the important part is to notice that shift, to grab onto it, to surround it with love, to surround ourselves with love, to allow that shifting energy, that's shifting the negativity to more of a neutrality, or maybe even better feelings and better thoughts. We have to notice it first and feed it. And we feed it with loving thoughts and hopefulness, compassion, kindness, dreams, and a willingness to let go of all that no longer serves us. The best way to overcome negative thoughts and feelings. I am going to end this part with a spoken word that became a book that I wrote called Love Loves Fear, because it embodies this exact how to overcome negativity. I'm just going to do it for you in this moment. If you are interested in it as a book, you can always get in touch with me. The message of it is what is so important for me to give to you right now. And it says, love, love, love loves everything. Fear fears everything. Love loves everything, especially fear. Oh, fear fears everything, especially love. Love just beams love. Love just loves. Love just beams love at the fear. This scares the fears so much. Being beamed love at scares the fear so much that it gets really big and angry and tries to scare the love away. But love just beams love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love continues to beam love at the fear. This scares the fear so much that it runs away. It runs and runs and runs and runs as fast as it can around the world to get away from the love. It runs and runs and runs. And don't you know, wherever fear goes, there love is. Love's hanging out, loving everything, surrounding everything with love, being love, beaming love. So then fear has the idea that if it gets really, really, really small, minuscule, the love will not be able to find it. So fear gets really, 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 really small. So tiny. Can't even see it. And then fear notices that it is totally surrounded by love because love loves everything. And the love that the fear has been running from and hiding from and trying to push away, that fear is now small, tiny, and totally surrounded by love. Ah, oh, this feels so good to the fear that the fear lets out a sigh of relief and surrenders to the love, because love loves everything, especially fear, and love is all there is. So there's always one last question of, is the bowl truly empty? The bowl may look empty, but the bowl is full. It's full of love and compassion and light and shimmering and many colors and shades of reflection. It's full of love and sound, and it beams love. So the bowl is never empty. I am now going to stop the recording. And those of you who are on live with me can now unmute yourselves, turn your video back on, go back into gallery view, pause for a moment, Oh, and I said that I was going to do this to tell you when to come back. There you go. That's your coming back sound. Beth, Eileen, please mute yourselves. I mean, please unmute yourselves. Thank you. And show yourself. And Beth, who managed to change your name. Cool. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. My mistake. My mistake, guys, where it said stop video, I stopped my own video. I didn't stop the recording. So I'm going to stop the recording.